We are bringing it back. That's right. The Lobliner Lowdown. But last time, we had some great interviews. We're going to get some good interviews on here, some good people. And I wanted to really utilize this space to be able to have conversations. And a lot of times when I'm on a video, it kind of becomes less of a conversation where I feel that we're able to really delve into topics and get philosophical and intellectual with it. And it becomes more of a lecture. And I don't like that feel. Maybe you guys like it. And if you like that better, let us know in the comments down below. But this is the Lobliner Lowdown with more than one Lobliner. I was looking for the perfect co-host. And locally, Bryce is going to be here a lot. We've done a lot with him at Legacy. But Bryce is a coach. He's a great coach, but his name's not Lobliner. So I'm like, my brother's in Texas. And that's really about it. My nephew's in Kansas. Who can I go to? So then I asked Cammie. I said, Cammie, can you? She said, nah, Dad. You're a square. You're not fun. So then I asked the next best thing. That's Katie. Everybody, Katie Lobliner's here. The Lobliner Lowdown. What's up, Katie?
Hi, honey.
So just so you guys know, Katie's my wife. Been married for 20 years. 2002 to April.
Yes.
Wow, we're almost 21 years married. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff here. We're obviously going to talk a lot about fitness. Just to let you know, since the last time you saw us together, we've started a youth performance facility in Franklin, Tennessee called Legacy at Carbon. So that's where Katie has kind of devoted her time and her resources to running that. I'm obviously still Ambrosia, Tiger Fitness, MTS Nutrition, all that stuff. But we want to talk about stuff we talk about, right? We want to talk about some politics without hopefully pissing everybody off. We want to talk about finances. We want to talk about college. We want to talk about health. We want to talk about fitness. We want to talk about trends. And whether this comes out 2 times a week, 3 times a week, or 5 times a week depends on how much you guys like it. So what do you think, Katie?
I think that we have lots of insight on different things due to our life experience, business, having kids, so hopefully we can keep this interesting.
So that's fantastic. And what better way to keep it interesting than talk about if you guys don't have Twitter, you need to get Twitter because it's really a fantastic place to be entertained and also get pissed off at the same time.
I tend to stay off Twitter.
And
I look at it occasionally when he tells me there's something to look at.
Twitter for me has become my news. Because generally it's the extremes of both sides. If you find something in the middle, it's generally the truth, right? So there's apparently what's going down is that this is per his Truth Social.
By the way, I don't know anything about this, so he's filling me in.
So
I haven't kept up with the news.
Apparently, due to some lies or whatever, some hush money that Donald Trump paid to Stormy Daniels to squash basically his affair with her or whatever, that New York is going to indict Donald Trump. When I say indict, I mean they're talking about, he says this comes from Trump. This is not coming from the actual New York. They're going to handcuff him, fingerprint him, and do the entire thing. Now, Trump, again, this is coming from Trump saying this on Truth Social, which is his version of Twitter. And we could talk about Truth Social all day, and we'll get into Truth Social, why I'm not really on there. But, Katie, so what do you think will happen if the state of New York extradites and indicts? Now, indictment, just so you know what indictment means, it basically, it's an allegation. You're charged with something. It doesn't mean you're guilty. You could get indicted for so many things. They can indict you for something and you're found innocent. So indictment is not a guilty charge. Indictment just means that you're being charged with something, you're being accused of something, and they're going to, take you to court and you have to plea and all that. So if this goes down, they arrest Donald J. Trump, the 45th president of these here United States of America, potentially the 47th president as well. What do you think happens?
I have no idea. There's going to be a lot of media coverage, which is one way and the other way, like who do you listen to? I mean, it might be good PR for his run for presidency. Who knows? It depends on who you ask.
So here's another question. right? So Trump goes and says in this tweet, right, in this a truther, whatever it's called, it's stupid. I can't use the platform. He goes and says that he wants people to go out and protest. And you remember the last time people protested for Trump? That was January 6th. That was the insurrection, an unarmed insurrection of 50-plus-year-old boomers who were led into the, whatever. That's besides the point. Do you think people are going to protest over this?
Yeah.
You do? Would you protest over this?
No.
So here's my question to those of you who protest. Trump literally, when people got arrested, his biggest supporters on January 6th, he just let them rot in jail. He just recently, like a week ago, said something about it. But these people have been behind bars in solitary confinement for years. And Trump has done nothing. He's raised no money for them. He's done nothing. Who in their right mind, and there's the key word, right mind, would actually go and protest for someone who's already shown that you don't mean anything to them?
I didn't know that. So there'll be less protesters this time.
I don't know. The MAGA crew, what I found is that when you go online, you see two viewpoints, right? Online. Now hear me out. So online, you have MAGA, right? The far right. I don't know if far right would be like, they're not far right. They're basically truly Trump supporters. They love them some Donald Trump. And then you have the far left, right? The crazy, like blue anon, like Trump, the people who have Trump derangement syndrome, the people who think that Republicans are evil and that we should be able to stab babies on the way out of the womb because it's a woman's choice, even if the baby's viable. Like you have one extreme and the other. And then
we don't know your view on that.
Which one? I believe, hold on. So
no, I'm being sarcastic.
No. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice with term limits. I don't think we should be able to kill a viable baby. However, we need to come up with common ground or some kind of a negotiation where we're like, okay, abortion is murder, but if you're less than 12 weeks and you find out you had a baby, you were raped, whatever, it just allows you a buffer period for where, like, if there is a chance of rape and incest that, you don't have to carry that baby to term. However, I will say that the depression and the mental anguish a woman goes through after killing her own child has to be unbearable. So that's one thing to look at. Another thing to look at is pro-life people believe that a baby is a baby at inception.
Right.
Whereas the other side, the pro-abortion people, believe that as long as it's in the womb, even if you could take it out and it could go and be a normal baby, they believe that you should be able to kill that motherfucker right there just because it's in your body, which I don't agree with.
Right. We could tell what your point was based on
Could you tell
said.
I wanted term limits, though? Would you be able to say I'm pro-choice with term limits?
No, but that wasn't what we were discussing. I was just making a comment.
I'm confused.
Go back to the topic we're talking about.
What was the topic? What were we talking about?
We're talking about Trump being indicted.
So basically there's crazy...
This is why Mark's podcasts are usually like 3 hours
So
long.
there's crazy people on the right and left. But as someone who's flown around the world, not after 2020 because I'm not getting that thing in my arm. If I'm gonna take an injection, I'm gaining 10 pounds of lean mass, damn it. What I found traveling the globe, traveling around America, everywhere from New York City to LA to the most conservative areas to places like Nebraska, right? I found that most people think a lot like you and I do. Whether it's in a blue area, a red area, whatever, people are pretty common sense. And I think the problem is we see the polarizing view of the right and the left when most people don't even realize what's going on. Most people are low IQ, low information voters who just check the box of whatever color they prefer, whether it's blue or red, or they heard something like Republicans are Nazis. I don't like Nazis. I'm going to vote for the blue guy. So people are basically, you're taking my well thought out, educated vote and canceling it out with someone who has no idea what's going on. Now that we have mail-in ballots, we're just sending people ballots. We're collecting them, which is ballot harvesting, which is one reason why the votes are going the way they're going. So we have a situation where we're only seeing in the media two crazy sides. But I think America is more united than we even know. I believe, I I believe we're in a post-racial America in that, well, first of all, most of my time in business and in life are spent with non-white individuals. I have yet to, in the last, I think we had one guy say something racist at the gym. We did a video on it back in like 2015 or 2014 at the Elgin, South Elgin LA Fitness. Someone said some racist shit. We did a video on the way home. It was on this very channel. So I do believe it exists, but I've yet to see it for 7 years, for 10 years, whatever. I think America, we pretty much get along. I think most people don't care. I think most people just want to get up, go to work, pay as little taxes as possible, and that's it. Raise their kids, go to school, whatever it is. But the crazy fringe element, which unfortunately has completely infested our schools and higher education, I think that's a problem. Like the woke schools and the indoctrination into Marxism and all these crazy ideologies, that's a problem. And the problem is people who go into higher education, the teachers, who becomes a teacher, right? Like they're not really out there doing stuff. And when I used to do these lectures at University of Minnesota, Florida State, Drake, all these different universities, I used to literally say in front of the professors, your professor's the last person you should listen to because all they're doing is professing. They're practicing.
That's why it's important to look at a professor's history and if they've actually been involved in other things other than just being a professor.
But you have no choice. You sign up for the class and you go there and you find out this guy's got tenure. He's teaching a business course, yet he's never run a business.
You do have a choice because when you're seeking out a college, you look at the list of professors. Cammie's actually been doing this. And
I never did that. That's the thing.
And seeing if they're actually, like what their credentials are, you can find that information. So this has been a topic of our house the last few weeks because we've been doing college visits, and Cammie literally is looking at the professors that are in the School of Business and what they have done. Some of them are nationally rated professors because they've done a boatload of things, whereas others aren't. So yes, it is a thing, and you do have a choice.
And that,
so don't go to school where the professors suck and haven't done anything.
And you don't have to go to a school that doesn't fit your ideology. And this is something we'll talk about a little bit later. I want to stick to the Trump thing, and then we'll segue into the college thing. So my opinion on what's going on right now is what I'm seeing is you have a weaponized Department of Justice. You have an FBI who goes after certain cases and not others. Hunter Biden should be in prison. Whether Joe Biden had anything, I don't care. What Hunter did would have put any of us, you, me, anybody watching this, if we did what Hunter did, like the firearms charges, guy has videos of him smoking crack with hookers, and this is the president's son, and then he's getting these checks from countries, and he has he's getting consultation gigs with oil companies when he's never done that. To be a consultant, you actually have to do stuff. You have to know what you're talking about. It's obviously, to anybody looking at this, whether you're right, left, indifferent, to anybody who is not biased, you look into the Hunter Biden thing, you know damn well that money's kicking back. That money's kicking back to Joe 100% of the time. And the fact that the Democrats do not have the ethics or the moral, I know you hate Trump, but you got to pick a different person, guys. He's not the guy. The guy is so dirty, so bad for the country. And that's why you should be like, cool, we want the Democrats to win. I'm on your team. Okay, I want the best person to win. Joe Biden is not the best person. That is the most crooked politician we have there for decades and decades. He's also a racist. He literally is on tape saying the N-word. Oh, wasn't out of context. So if I say stuff in the context that Joe Biden says, so I could just throw out the N-word and no one get mad at me? Come on. Talk about copium right there. It's absolute bullshit, guys. Jump out of the tribe. Me. Again, if you're looking at what I am, you're a Republican. No, I'm not. I'm actually speaking on April 22nd at a libertarian event right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Not there. I'll be speaking. I'm a libertarian, guys. I hate both of them. Okay. So when I speak on Trump, I'm not a Trump fan. However, I do know that the libertarians are not going to win a presidential election. I'm throwing my vote away. So if it's Biden versus Trump, I'm voting Trump. I just am. And Joe Rogan said it first, but I'll tell you this. If it's like a Kennedy, he's a Democrat. Like if he runs against Trump, yeah, that's my guy. If Tulsi decides to be a Democrat again and run against Trump, I'm voting for Tulsi. I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a party line guy. In fact, if you look at, like, for goodness sakes, like most of my stuff, I'm a 90s Democrat. Unfortunately, the Democrats, I stayed right here. Like we were right there. We were looking at each other. We're both right here. The Democrats fell off the fucking cliff. And I'm still here like, where'd y'all go? Where'd y'all go? And then I look and I'm like, oh, the Republicans are against tyranny right now. And they want to get us out of this war. I'm like, I'm going to go on that side. So because I don't like war. And then the Democrats, who are typically anti-war, are like, you're a right-wing extremist. You're a Nazi. I'm a fucking Jew, not a Nazi. I'm like, holy shit, where does a person like me go, Katie?
You need to take a deep breath.
You get Xanax.
All right, so wrapping up that subject.
So you see that I have an affinity for history. Watch, this is going to be a segue. I'm calling it.
Lord.
So you see I have affinity for history. I love history.
Yeah.
I love history. Love studying about, stuff my family went through, the Holocaust. One of my favorite classes in college that we actually took together was called Hitler's Germany. And I'm pretty sure that our professor was an actual Nazi. He was a Nazi. He had the pointy nose and everything. And I'm like, what was his name? He was a brilliant man. He was brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. But
your point is?
College is good. College is good. While most of my classes were absolute bullshit, you heard Katie earlier talk about, you can see what your professor has done. So I had a professor's name was Professor Randall Donahue. No master's degree, no nothing.
We went to a private college.
We went to a private school. So we were actually able to learn from these, individuals who were in the world. Like before he became a professor, Professor Donahue was out there making shit happen, because a lot of things look great on paper in a book. And then when you get into the real world, you realize this is nothing like they taught me. And that was a realization I had when I started in business. I'm like, all this shit I read in the books, they don't work here. So one thing is parents want to do what's best for their kids. And we want to send our kids to college. We start these 529. If you don't know what 529 is, it's basically a savings account for college that is tax exempt, not tax deferred, tax exempt.
A 529 account is a savings account that if you live in a state where you have to pay state income tax, it is exempt from state income tax. For Tennessee, we have no state income tax, so that isn't a benefit for that reason. However, a 529 account, the interest is accrued. You don't have to pay taxes on it. So whereas your savings account at the bank, you get an interest statement at the end of the year that you have to submit with your taxes, that number of interest. Your interest on a 529 account does not count as income. So you're saving money without having to pay that tax on the interest. So So I didn't realize that. We had started 529 accounts, when the kids were little, and I knew the part about the not having to pay state. I knew that you didn't have to pay state income tax on the money you put in there, but I didn't realize that it gained interest free. Yeah. So that's a huge thing to know, because spent the week visiting colleges with Cammie. It was spring break. So Monday we were at University of Alabama, Birmingham. Then we drove straight to University of Alabama. We came home for a night or two. 2 nights. And then on Wednesday we drove and we toured Clemson in South Carolina. We toured University of South Carolina. We toured the Gamecocks. We toured the University of Georgia, and we also toured Kennesaw State in Georgia. So I have spent the whole week hearing all kinds of college spiels about finances and degrees and everything else, and I have learned a lot in the last week.
So what would be the main take home you have for somebody? Obviously, I think I'm going to go into this. You need to visit schools. Like I know that my nephew Jaden went to Kansas State on a baseball scholarship, but and I don't think he really cared. He really liked Manhattan, Kansas. He really liked the campus And I think that played a role in, I think one of the schools we were looking at is Illinois. Beautiful campus, but Illinois is Illinois. I would rather be in Kansas than Illinois, just based on what we saw in 2020. And I think that might have played a role, but you need to visit the campus because you get a taste of the culture. For me, for those of you who follow my coaching stuff, Legacy, I'm big on culture. Every team, every coach, every individual that we work with, we stress the importance of having a team culture where you work together and you build a community. And when you go to a campus, especially when it's in session, you're able to see the school pride, the spirit, the class of people. Like, for example, if you're a person like me, not big on partying, and not big on the woke stuff and not big on, socialism or Marxism, you walk around the campus and you see what's going on. If you see like a Marxist fist, you're probably going to be like, I don't know about this place, right? Or if you see a bunch of kids walking around with blue hair, you might be like, this might not be the culture for me.
So I went to
not
colleges.
saying I'm against people with blue hair.
He's heard our stories. So, it's weird because a friend told me that when you take your kid, who's, Cammie's a junior, so next year she has to decide where she's going to go to college. They told me that they know when they get to a college if they like it or not. And I didn't believe that initially. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like it's really a thing. We also had visited a couple of weeks ago, UT Chattanooga. So we live in Tennessee. So a Tennessee state school would save us a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the thing, like, Cammie went into this not really knowing if she wanted a big school, medium-sized school. She said she doesn't really want a small school, but I'm going to encourage her to look at some smaller schools. But they're in different settings, and all these things play a part in, like, the life experience you're going to have there. So, like, University of Alabama, Birmingham is a very old town with rich history. However, the school is right in downtown. Birmingham, I didn't realize, is the third most dangerous city in the whole United States.
Cammie can thug.
So while we were there, the city is beautiful. It was clean. We didn't see much riffraff. The campus is right in downtown. There's like 4 or 5 hospitals, like right on the campus, like main boulevards that go through the campus. Beautiful campus, but it's in downtown and it's not safe. So while we like the school, that wouldn't be, a top priority. Then we went to somewhere like Bama, that school has a huge amount of school pride. Like once you go there.
Oh my God, Matt Stevens.
Once you go there, like,
Tide.
It's like a gang.
Roll Tide.
Okay, and what the hell does Roll Tide mean? Do you even know? I looked it up. Do you know what Roll Tide means?
I think it has something to do with the monthly menstruation.
No, it's something to do with a football game back in the day, and they got all muddy, and the dirt there is like a reddish color, right? That color like the soil was in North Carolina, and they got all muddy, and then they said something like it looked like the something tide, and so they just started saying Roll Tide.
Probably was Red Tide.
It makes,
the ocean thing?
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And their mascot actually
is an elephant.
I have the book here because I wanted to share some information I'll get to. But their mascot's an elephant. Like we actually ran into the mascot on campus, and I guess that doesn't really happen.
It's like University of Miami. Their mascot, the cane. They're Hurricanes, but their mascot is a fucking ibis. It's an ibis. It's a flightless bird, and I never understood that. My dad went to the U. So I remember we're watching, I'm like, and there's Sebastian, the ibis. I'm like, of all things, a frigging ibis. Like it's the Hurricanes versus the Gators. They have an alligator. They can eat dogs and humans, and they're fighting a flightless bird.
Well, obviously there's mascots for a reason. There's some story probably to every school's mascot.
I'm just saying from the outside looking in, there's got to be a story to that.
So do you want me to speak more of college stuff that I learned? Okay. So we went to Alabama during spring break. So we didn't get to see like the vibe, I'll call it, of the campus because the students weren't there. However, we had an amazing experience there. We got to see the campus. Our tour guides were very professional and had great information to share with us, could answer our questions. And like, you just knew like that school has a good vibe. We're going to go back and visit it when it's in session so Cammie can see the people. So if anyone cares, that's, one of Cammie's top choices right now. We still have many more schools to visit. So we then went to Clemson. Clemson, South Carolina is gorgeous. Cammie fell in love. And it's like the second we got there, she knew. And Cammie's not the type of person to get like overly excited over something.
She's very not excited.
Hides how she's feeling, right? She pulls out her camera. She's taking pictures of everything. She's letting me take pictures of her, which never happens. She just was like, it's so peaceful. And the vibe, the kids were there. There was energy on the campus. Our tour guide was amazing. And people were friendly around the campus, which I like. Everyone we'd walk by, our tour guide must have been like Miss Popular on campus. People would say hi to her. And, like everyone was like, you'd walk around that school and you knew where you were because people were wearing Clemson sweatshirts, where we didn't see that at any of the schools that we went to this week other than that, really. You just knew there was a sense of school pride there. There's lots of athletics. There's, a huge stadium, obviously, because they've got football, and it's like right by the campus. It's by a lake. It's just a beautiful area. Great school of business. So that was awesome. We went to University of South Carolina. Let's just say I did not feel safe walking in downtown. And the campus is big. It's nice. Let's just say it's not for Cammie. And we happened to be driving home, stopped at IHOP, and we're like, oh, we're on the same exit as Kennesaw State. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I skipped. We went to University of Georgia. University of Georgia is beautiful, huge campus, to the point, like, there's a bus system. We drove from one side to the other. It took us a 10-minute drive. Like, there's different vibes when you're different size school, but that's definitely one she likes. And then on our way home, we did USC. I'm like mixing up. That was Georgia. On our way home from Georgia, we stopped at an exit. Happened to be where Kennesaw State was. We said, let's go drive through the campus. We got to the campus and it happened to be open house day. So we quickly registered for open house and we sat through a school of business, like their information session, listened to several professors. I was very impressed with all of them, specifically one who I told Mark.
I'm going to message this guy.
This guy was amazing.
He's the guy.
Finance econ
He's in
guy.
shape to see his guns.
He is.
What is his name?
His name is Dr. Bray. And the second he started talking, I knew I liked this guy and his beliefs were in line with ours. So I looked him up, and he is kind of speaking out against I had a diversity something inclusion.
He's against
stuff.
the woke shit.
Yeah, like the pronouns and all that. So
he's gay.
So there's literally an article, and he's like, I'm playing into the pronoun thing. If they can do it, why can't I? And he was like, handsome, something else, homo, and those are the pronouns he wanted to use. And basically, he was speaking out against all of the the victim mentality, I guess you'd say. Yeah,
that's pretty much
the post George Floyd, where they were like, the school openly supported Black Lives Matter, which, we won't go there.
Well, no, I think can we segue before we go in? I just want to, before people, so when it started, like, I saw the name and I'm like, Black Lives Matter? Hell yeah, they do. Yes. All lives matter. They're like, no, that's racist. I'm like, okay, right. I'm confused now. And then we find out, here's why. And I saw this coming at the beginning. Here's why I am anti-BLM. I'm not anti-Black Lives Matter. I think everybody should live and be safe and happy.
The saying and the organization are two.
So the organization has been caught doing so much shady stuff.
Yeah, there's like a documentary we watched.
Yeah, it's Candace Owens did it. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're the most happy, peace-loving, racially harmonious people you'll ever meet. However, BLM is a grift. It just is a violent grift. And so to speak up against that was really hard to do. Because what a great marketing. Now, if you go to school for marketing, imagine if your name is Antifa. We're anti-fascist. So if you're against us, you're a fascist, even though what they're doing is fascism. Okay. And then you have Black Lives Matter. Well, I don't like Black Lives Matter. Are you saying you hate black people?
Right.
It's great.
So one of the articles I read, this professor was basically saying, okay, guys, we're supporting this. And have we had any racial, like hate crimes or anything on campus that people should be having this victim mentality? And the answer was no. They had no facts to say there was. So he's like, why are we having this victim mentality on this campus? So it was.
They don't want facts. Facts don't
so
work.
I thought it was very interesting that this professor was speaking out against this, you know, the
It
opinion.
took balls.
It did. And so anyways, he basically was speaking about the specific degrees in finance and econ in the School of Business. And it was just very entertaining. In fact, I said to the mom sitting behind me, because she was laughing and enjoying, I'm like, this makes me want to go back to college. Like I could sit through this guy's class, and I'm not like a huge fan of econ and finance, but I was like, this guy has me interested and whatever. So anyways, so to talk about like what we're saying about like professors and the quality of professors, that's all something that you look into when selecting a university. And I think I came to the conclusion this week, the saying, you get what you pay for, is definitely a thing with colleges, because as you find the more like the more experienced professors that are rated and have done things that are, you know, a school that has really good professors that have done a bunch of things, you're going to pay more for that education than someone that's just a professor, or like, you know, there's reasons schools cost more than others. So I wanted to share one thing I learned, because Cammie's our first kid going to college. We haven't gone to college for
and when we're done, you guys probably who've been watching us for a while, before we get started, I want to nip this in the bud so people don't get confused. I want to explain to you, because you're probably like, isn't Cammie going to be on the women's national team for soccer? I think we need to address that after this.
Okay. So this is Bama's beautiful brochure. As a person who's worked in print pretty much since I had a job, I was like extremely impressed. It feels nice. It's glossy. So they're spending lots of money on these.
It's
but anyways,
got the soft touch.
University of Alabama. This is the top. Cammie's number one's now Clemson and Bama. So my point is going to be, all you parents with the smart kids with high GPs and ACT scores, be proud, because it's going to save you a shit ton of money. I did not know.
She came in and gave Thomas the fucking business when she came home.
Hey,
dumbass, get better grades.
I knew that like you could get scholarships, but some schools have these amazing set charts. So let me tell you about University of Alabama. We're an out-of-state resident. So based on their estimates for tuition, estimated fees, room and board, which is the base residence hall and base meal plan. Okay, base residence hall means you get the oldest, nastiest one for residence halls. Chances are, if Cammie went there, we'd, you know, upgrade a little bit.
We've done okay for ourselves.
She cooks, so, you know, getting one with a kitchenette might be an option, because she likes eating healthy and cooking for herself. So anyways, the total is $46,686. I'd say it'd probably be closer to 50 with the things I just mentioned. Now, Bama has this lovely chart, and it's based on your ACT or SAT test scores and your GPA. So I'm going to give you an example. If you got between 30 and 36 on your ACTs, 36 is a perfect score, and you have over a 3.5 GPA, you would be awarded the presidential scholarship with a $28,000 a year value. So every year, based on your high school numbers, you are going to get $28,000 a year. I think you have to maintain like a decent grade point average while you're in college. $28,000 a year. So that would be $46,000 minus $28,000, whatever that is. That's what it would cost to go there. And then it tiers down to as low as $6,000 if you have lower SAT, ACT, GPA scores. You know, there's a whole chart. That was shocking to me. I'd heard that Bama gives, and Alabama, the state, because Birmingham, I think, had a similar chart, gives a lot of money. It's cool to be smart, kids. It's cool to have a good GPA.
Or be really good at a sport and go NAIA where there's no scholarship limits.
So, yeah. So, we're Tennessee residents. We're still going to go look at UT in Knoxville. You know, everyone knows UT. And we would get in-state tuition there, which is, I believe, around $27,000. And then the Hope Scholarship, if you have a certain GPA, you get like $5,000 a year. So yeah, in-state schools, more affordable. However, like Clemson has a degree Cammie's really interested in that's unique to that school. So we'll see. But it was an eye-opening week. Learned a lot about college admissions and all that. if I could give you a couple takeaways, tell your kids to get good grades, start prepping for the ACTs, probably late sophomore year, early junior year. So good scores and good GPA. Tour schools starting this summer, going into junior year. It costs money to apply to schools, so you might as well have an idea if you love or hate something before you start doing that. When you're on the road, make it a point to stop at schools you think you'll be interested in. What else have you heard me talk about? Good grades. Use 529s.
Yeah, that's even Dave Ramsey, who's a Franklin guy. So we got to talk about him. He's big on, it's like the 5th baby step, max out your kids' scholarships, kids' college funds. And so as far as Cammie's soccer is concerned, she's she's been playing it since she was like 6, and she scratched the itch, man. And there's no upward trajectory for soccer, meaning that if you go pro, chances are you're making 20 grand a year living in a host house. Like, that's it. So it's just going to be a full-time job in college when she can literally have a full-time job, and there's nowhere to go with it. It's a dead end, and she's played it. She has a state championship ring. She's played club. And to be honest, like, I'm not going to go here and blast clubs. I'm not that guy, because I don't think it's exclusive to one club or 2 clubs or 10 clubs. Basically, soccer clubs are businesses.
Yep.
And when you play for high school, it's a different vibe. You're playing for a school. You're playing for pride. You're playing with your friends. Whereas soccer clubs become a business. And in a business, if you're and they're big, I'm talking, it's like having 1,000 employees. You have 1,000 members, right? 1,000 people, but they're paying you. So I guess it's kind of like, so you have all these members. And at the end of the day, it becomes less about loving the game, less about meritocracy, and more about politics and paying your bills. And, we've been in multiple soccer clubs, I believe 3, Campton, TCSA, and TSC. What I found is the bigger the club, the less they care. And I think that from a business perspective is whatever. From a development and child perspective, I've known more kids who just give it up, not because they're bad, they're not good players, but because the club atmosphere tends to sap all of the love and energy they had for the sport, because they're dealing with things that kids aren't equipped to deal with. They're dealing with politics, like, well, the kids need to learn. I'm like, no, they need to play. They need to play soccer. They need to be devoid of politics. And honestly, I just think that you become a number, you become a dollar sign. And just to be honest, all of my kids are done with soccer now that Cammie's done.
Yeah. So back to club soccer being a business, my 2 cents on that is, when you look at a club, you don't want to go to a club where they're always losing, right? So the coaches know that. They play their team players based on wanting to win, not what the kids want to do. So not faulting the coaches or the clubs. It's a business, right? So when Cammie was playing soccer when we lived in Illinois and the goalkeeper broke her thumb or something, guess who was the backup goalkeeper? Cammie was. So she had to play goalkeeper, even though she really didn't want to, because it was best for the team.
It took him to a championship.
Not for Cammie.
An
it was
MRL
what was
championship.
Best for the team. Cammie's played midfield her entire high school career, soccer, but her club team needed a center back. So it's best for the team that Cammie's a center back.
But that's any sport, Katie. I don't know where you're going with this. I really don't think that's the issue.
I think that it affects how they like the sport. If they're not doing what they want to do, I think it, even if you don't think it does, I don't think it's about winning at all. Are you telling me that the worst player on the ECNL national team is better than the best player is better than the best player on the ECNLR team? Are you telling me, I'm not going to name names, are you telling me that every player on the ECNL national team is better than our forward on our team? No.
Okay. It's not about winning. 99% of it's about politics and money and playing into families, especially in rich communities, which is where soccer clubs are. Soccer clubs litter towns like Germantown and towns like St. Charles. You look at Illinois. Look at Illinois.
Yeah.
Look at Illinois. Elgin is big. We have one soccer club, and the other one went out of business. That was the Kickers. There's one, the Pumas. Pumas is a low-income Hispanic community. You go to St. Charles, there's 10 fucking soccer clubs with a bunch of rich white kids. You tell me that all the best kids in Illinois are white? No, they're the ones who can afford it. At the end of the day, these clubs don't give a shit about winning. They give a shit about paying their bills and playing up to these families. It's all politics. It's all politics. It's always been all politics.
You played into exactly what I said about winning. It is about winning
money
because they're not going to get money. No one's going to go pay for a club that's never won a game. So it is about winning. Because
so why is it not a meritocracy? Why is it not a meritocracy if it's about winning? If it's about winning, I want that forward on the R team, on the N team. You're telling me she's the fastest fucking girl I've ever seen. You're telling me she doesn't belong on the best team. There's no coach in the world in any university who would look at any of the forwards on the other team and look at this girl and be like, she doesn't belong on that team.
You don't have to have all the best players on it. Of everyone on a team to make the team
if better. You have a top team, you want every single best player. I disagree. If you're putting together your all-star team, you don't put a scrub on there. And it's been going on since I was a kid in Little League. There were kids who made the all-star team just because their daddy did more for the club.
Absolutely.
It's always going to happen because adults make it about them. And that's why I coach kids from every damn school, man. You come to Legacy. You'll never see me in a Ravenwood shirt. You'll never see me in a shirt for any school. I coach every school. I coach kids. I want kids to be their best ever, period. I coach for them to win. There's no way, guys, I just went and I lectured in front of Abbott Labs, Nestle, all these huge companies. The reason I had the balls, that I had the confidence to go up there and speak to these people is because of sports. Because it gave me that confidence. It gave me that whole belief in myself. And that's what sport does. And I'm going to just tell you parents this. Embrace school sports. Don't give up. There's a lot of soccer clubs. I know Soccer's used to do it in Schaumburg, Illinois. They used to tell their kids, don't play high school soccer. Don't do it. Don't do it. You got to play club year round. Screw them. Screw them. Enjoy, play for your school, play for your club. I didn't realize how much club soccer sucked until Preston played football. Preston played football, and we had the best. Dude, one of our coaches is Derek Morgan, the NFL player, 9 years.
Well, that's club football.
It's club football, but football's different.
Okay.
In that football, there was no politics. There was none of that stuff. Everyone had fun. The end of year banquet, it wasn't just our team. Everyone had fun. Everyone had fun. Soccer, complete. And we didn't realize how bad it was till we got involved in football. And we were like, this is amazing.
It might not be that way everywhere.
I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not, again, I'm not shitting on any club. Every club we were with had their issues. There's no such, but if you're in a soccer club, don't think that going to the one down the street is going to make it any better. We tried that. And oh my God, it's a matter of pick your poison. Do you want, do you want to be shit on or pissed on? That's literally what club sports are.
So I think to summarize, basically what we just said is that club sports can take over your life.
How many vacations did we give up?
And it's good to be a balanced, like an athlete that does multiple things, even if it's shunned upon by one of the sports your kid's participating in. And don't like Mark just said. So we have a lot of regret because we were like, oh, well, we're paying for soccer. We can't miss practice. She's made a commitment to her team, or we can't go do this cool event that's happening this day because she has a soccer game. She's 7 and she's not going to even remember it at all, but we're going to miss out on something to make
I don't
memories.
remember
so
any
that
games.
was more him like, no, she can't miss practice. Like him, that was him for the record. Nah. I'm more like, who cares? You don't feel good. Maybe you need a day off.
I love winning, dude.
It can cause total burnout. It doesn't happen to everyone.
It happens.
If you would have talked to us last year at this time, we would have been telling you that Cammie is going to play college soccer and it's her passion. Things change. She started a business, which Keep your eyes open.
Lacuna Nutrition launches this week at Tiger Fitness.
Yeah. So she's started a business and she wants to shift her focus to that and focusing on getting her grades and her ACT scores as best as possible so she can get as much money as possible for college so that she can have choices of where she wants to go. So it's a shift of focus for her. It's not giving up on something. It's okay, it's time to focus on this because she sees the next step. So, we spent spring break planning her future, essentially. Everyone else, not judging, was like on vacation and cool places and or touring colleges because like we want to feel prepared for her next step. We have a really good vacation coming up in the summer. So, and then Marc had a commitment to speak at the event in Columbus. So he took the boys to that. And then the next day happened to be the auto show at the Columbus Convention Center.
NFL Hall of Fame.
Can I finish a freaking sentence?
I'm so excited about the NFL Hall of Fame. I want to go back already.
So anyways, that's what we did for spring break.
It was the greatest spring break ever. I got to spend time with my boys. It was really fun. And we got to stop by HQ on the way there. We got some great, we had a great time. And I think that's the thing about being parents is you kind of need to, you need to kind of separate the kids and spend time with them individually.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's been a game changer because how it was before, maybe I remember it differently, is, I was always with Cammie, where it's a point where she kind of became like me a little bit, which is kind of scary. And her personality is like me.
She ate at IHOP.
Chicken feet omelet?
Made with egg whites, no cheese, no sour
That's exactly
cream,
what I get.
Buttermilk pancakes.
Yes, with chocolate chips. Yep. So Cammie literally...
Without knowing that that's what you eat. Because she was ordering, like, she was going to make an omelet herself, and I was like, whoa.
So Cammie's basically me with a wig. And the boys have always been mama's boys, but now it's kind of, now that Thomas is extremely committed to wrestling and Preston is just, really, really blossoming as probably, and I say this in all honesty, he's probably one of the most talented, driven athletes I've ever had the pleasure of coaching.
I think we forget so much that he's 10.
I mean, the kid's deadlifted 250 pounds, squatted 245 off a box, and he's benching close to 100 pounds.
He's a state champ.
I mean, and that was just a sport he's doing to kill time between football seasons. And Thomas is really insane at wrestling, and he's how do I put this without embarrassing him? Like the kid's going through a metamorphosis that we've all gone through so my nephew Jaden, who I mentioned earlier, is playing at Kansas State. He went from like 5'3" to 6'1" in a year. And I swear to God, when we left for Ohio, I was looking down on Thomas like, what's up now, bitch? Next thing you know, I'm like, he's like right here. And I'm not a tall man by any means. And then when Cammie comes home, she's like, stand there. Cause I told Cammie, I'm like, I texted him, Thomas is getting taller. And, sure as shit, she's like, oh my God, like the kid's growing.
And he's puberty.
He's sleeping all the time. He slept the entire 9-hour drive home, minus like an hour. And he's moody as shit. And part of me wants to beat the shit out of him because it's like, dude, wake up, stop. The other part of me is like, oh, this is puberty. So it's a unique dynamic where you have him going through this developing into a man. And then you have Preston, who's 10. So there's a huge, and they're both Thomas is way more, Preston's competitive, but not in an angry way. Does that make sense? Like he wants to win, but if he loses, he just wants to eat ice cream. Whereas Thomas, he wins, he cries. He loses, he's very competitive, ultra competitive. And so those two going at it, it's like Thomas will literally cut off his arm to win something, where Preston will give it his all, but if he loses, he's like, okay. He's just a very happy-go-lucky kid. Like, that's the thing is that wrestlers, we were watching the national championship yesterday. Wrestlers, they say, have to have a very short memory. In that if you lose the first period, you have to forget about that and win the second period, win the third. Preston has always had that. Like when his team lost the championship game in football by 1 point in overtime, everybody's crying. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to cry. He's going to walk off the field and I don't know how to handle this. He goes, hey, Dad. I'm like, Everybody's like, literally, it looked like everybody's mom just died. Like, crying. And he had one more year at that level, so I guess he didn't really. But he was like, I'm like, are you sad that you lost? He's like, yeah, it kind of sucked. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, but I played really good, didn't I? I'm like, yeah, you did. I'm like, let's go get your second place trophy. And I wasn't even, at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to be sad. Like, my own 10-year-old's not sad. And he was happy. He's like, hey, I got a trophy. I'm like, but then he had something. We talked to Bryce about this day, about this. Like, he had this, like, this fire went off when he won state. And we went on that hike yesterday, and we were talking about this. And he's like, Dad, he's like, that was really awesome to win. Like, it was, he's like, everybody was like congratulating me, and the coach was all happy.
Stop crying.
No, I'm not. And I'm like, okay. And I noticed that since he won it, he's always trained way harder than anybody, even 15, 16 years old.
And when he trains, he's serious. Like, I've talked to Bryce about this too. Like, he just has to know how many he has to do. That's his question. Yeah. He won't complain about doing it. He'll be like, how many reps? How many sets?
You could put 1,000 pounds on the bar. Like, how many?
Yeah.
How many? I mean,
he just wants the end goal. So he knows.
But it's a weird mentality where he will drive himself into the ground. It's not to please us either. He doesn't care. Like, he's the kind of kid who's not like, he doesn't need to beg for our attention. Like, Katie's a very attentive mother, whereas he's not like reaching out. And unlike the other two kids, I haven't been traveling as much since Preston was born. So I've been there. He's not like, oh, my daddy traveled because of no. That's the other two kids. They're the ones who'll need therapy. Preston just likes working, or he doesn't know any better. That's all he sees. Like, our kids, like, somebody asked me, actually, one of the guys at the car show, at the auto show, one of the guys who knew me, who recognized me at the auto show, he's like, how do you get your kids to wake up and train? I'm like, no. Cammie wakes up at 4 a.m. before school to train because she's Cammie. That I don't wake up at 4 a.m. to train. I need my sleep.
Well, when we left for South Carolina, we knew we weren't going to have time to go to the gym when we were out of town. So we were at the gym at 6:30 in the morning, and that was rough for me. And she usually gets there at 5. At 6:30, I was still like, I cannot do this.
So here's the funny thing is that if you're a child of an alcoholic, you're more likely to become an alcoholic because that's what you see as your norm. Yep. That's what you see as what people do. Our kids, since they were this big, our kids, since they were just wee, tiny little babies, they knew that in the morning you work out. They knew that you train every day. Like, Katie and I have been going to the gym every day for years.
I don't go to the gym every day. I go like 4 or 5.
You see what I'm saying? Like, they know that we exercise and it's normal.
You can go every day if you want.
And they know that we always pay attention to what we eat. We always pay attention to what we put in our bodies. We always take our vitamins. We always have an intra-workout drink. We have these things. So our kids, like, everybody else's norm isn't our norm. Our norm is different. So our kids gravitated towards that. So all 3 of our kids are essentially doing what we've been doing. And that shows you it's so much. Our kids aren't naturally genetically predisposed to eat chicken and rice.
Yeah, by the way, when we went to the colleges, we had to walk through the food areas and look at what they had.
Yeah, of course. I remember that one time. So we went to California Lutheran University in Thousand Oaks. Remember that one time for St. Patrick's Day, they had green eggs and no one would eat them?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I do.
It might have been before I got there. Yeah,
it could have been, but they're like, that was the last time they did that.
That's a thing. Like, there are a lot of options at college now, but you're a freshman, they force you to get the meal plan. Like, what if she doesn't eat? Like, the only thing she would eat is like the meat and lettuce. Like, she doesn't eat mac and cheese. She doesn't eat fried chicken. Like, when we were at Kennesaw State and we did a loop, she's like, there's nothing in here that I can eat. So that's something we're going to have to think about when we do college stuff. There are dietitians that will work with, the dogs are talking. There are dietitians that'll like, they can make special food for you. So we have to take advantage of that because I'm not paying for all this food she ain't going to eat.
Yeah. Well, that's how they get you. I remember we had mine was kind of covered, but we had meal plans that we had to buy at California.
Yeah. There's different tiers.
Which, by the way, is like 65 G's a year.
Yeah,
now.
we looked that up because I was trying to get a comparison.
Holy
and the college
shit.
we went to is now, I think it was 65 or 67 a year. I think when we went, it was like 25 a year.
It was 25.
Yeah, my parents paid for me to go there. No loans, no financial aid.
I also, and I get shit on for this, but we don't want any debt. For us, for Cammie. So pick a school you can afford. And I think, I know Tennessee does it. I don't know about other states. But in Tennessee, the first 2 years of school are free. Community college. Now, you still have to buy books and such, and obviously you have to live somewhere. But community college is always going to be affordable. And so my suggestion is to know where you're going after community college to make sure all of your units transfer.
I'm also of the belief that if you don't know what you want to do not go straight to a 4-year university. And that belief has been like validated every freaking school we've gone to. So when you look at the coursework for a major, those lower classes are going to be different by major, right? So you keep saying go to community, like, well, what if Cammie just went to community college? You've brought that up before. Nope, because a business degree, you might have to take a different intro class from a science degree, right? So you're essentially you can make use of the lower division classes. Those apply towards your required coursework for your degree. If you don't know what your degree is going to be, you can't take the appropriate lower courses that will be for your degree. So
I still agree with myself though, because here's why. Here's why.
Unless you know where you're going to go and what your degree is.
No, but at the end of the day, people change their majors like 3 times before they graduate.
Some people do, yeah.
No, the average is like 3 times. It's the average. People change their majors. It's normal. I changed my major.
Right, but if it's within like a similar thing, that's fine.
Mine went from kinesiology to marketing.
Oh, I didn't know that you were going to be a kinesiology major.
Every meathead
You didn't
wants
take any classes freshman year that were...
No, I went straight gen ed.
Okay, maybe you did. I don't remember. But
I was gen ed.
My point is very valid. So you can listen to him or you can listen to me, whatever.
That's why I had to take that stupid class where they showed the woman giving birth and I passed out.
Well, there are some gen ed classes that are required by all majors, but there are also several that are specific to your major. So and
you could always take those gen eds in community college. You can go in the summer or the
well,
winter.
when I was in college, I took summer school every summer. Going into college,
I went to GCC.
Every summer I graduated in 3.5 years with changing colleges after my first semester, and don't even know what my major was going to be the first year. I don't even remember. I just took
your major was survival.
Yeah. So there's definitely like looking at colleges, try to narrow things down at least a little bit. Like,
I think so.
A lot. There was a lot to learn.
But there's a college for everybody, and if you don't make a lot of money, there's loans. Well, not loans. There's. Let me hold on. Let me not say. Don't take loans. Whatever you do, work through it. Try not to take loans.
Well, there's 2 kinds of loans. And so if you can get a loan that's getting 0% interest while you're in school, and you can be a responsible person like we are with paying
nobody's responsible,
cards, then those are based on your financial need.
Babe, there's no 18-year-old in this world who's responsible enough for that. Pay as you go. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. We paid our shit off right away, but if I could do it all over again, we would have.
We didn't have a lot of debt.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of debt, but a lot of people get into this debt situation. So you're starting out your career with a hole to dig out of. You're literally starting out, you're not just running 100 yards to get a touchdown. You're running 200 yards because you're $300K in debt.
Right. Well, like one of the speakers at Kennesaw State threw out some number. I think it was like the guy that was like the cybersecurity information technology speaker saying that the average salary with that degree coming out of college was between $60,000 and $80,000 a year. And I was calling bullshit because I do not believe that at all. So the other thing that I learned from all of these visits is like, these are sales pitches. Every college presentation, they want you to come to their school, so you give them your money. So that's what I was telling Cammie too, because like we'd go online afterwards and try to validate some of the facts they were telling us, and some of them were like, yeah, we can't find anything that validates that claim. So anyways,
I think so. This one there's so much to talk about. We need to save some for the next episode. I'd like to get filmed before I leave town. I got a beautiful trip. I'm going to go. What?
Before you leave town? That would mean that tomorrow. You're crazy.
Or Tuesday, whatever, Thursday. So we're going to try and get 2 of these a week. And if it hits, hey, we'll do more. If it doesn't, we'll do less. Why don't you comment down below what you think about this? And if there's any topics, we need topics, okay? We're going to try and do something current event-y. So here's the format I vision. And I want you guys to kind of interject what you feel is the best, right? This is for you. People ask us questions and they're like, hey, we want to see more of Katie. I get a lot of that, believe it or not. So the next one we're going to talk about, and I want you guys to share this with people who have big tits, is Katie's explant. I've been getting a lot of questions about how she's doing. And the answer is that the surgeon did a great job. They look fine. And a lot of her deleterious health effects that happen from it have gone away. She looks different. Her skin quality is different.
But hair is coming back.
Yeah. So basically,
look how big it is.
Yeah, she's going to have an afro next time we come on here. I think, so I want to talk about the explant surgery next.
There's a lot of new information just in the last couple of months. So I'll print out some stuff.
One thing I want Katie to talk about is how you changed. So I've always been hyper political as far as from an observationist standpoint, because when you own businesses, you have to know the climate to be able to determine where your investments are best held down. You need to know, okay, if this guy's winning the president, where's the stock market going? This, that, and the third. And Katie would always be like, I don't want to hear that shit. And then like in 2020, something changed. Something went off where Katie became ultra vigilant and ultra observant of what's going on around her, and also started following a whole different group of people. And you're not the only one, because every dude I talk to who has like a stay-at-home mom or just a woman with kids, most of them have gone from either apolitical or on a certain side to way over there. So I would like to explore that. And also current event wise, we'll see what goes on. There's so much going on every day. So many things I'd love to talk about, but YouTube censors it. For example, the C word. We can't mention the C word because I don't know if YouTube is down with it or what. I know that Jimmy Dore and some of the other guys I listen to talk about it, but it's really hard to address that. All I will say before we go off the air, because I've been very outspoken to the point where I was shadow banned on this very platform, is whatever's going on right now, we need to figure it out. Like we need to put money into researching. Like if there is an issue, and there was a movie out that we watched called Died Suddenly. And I'm not one to say it's coincidence. I don't know. But if there is something going on with people's health and their heart, and by the way, I did just formulate a new heart health supplement from MTS Nutrition, to help deal with a lot of these clotting issues and a lot of these issues from a natural standpoint where you don't have to go on statins or anything crazy or any kind of anticoagulants. Again, this is not a medical claim at all, but it's something that is taken as a dietary supplement under the recommendation of your doctor, of course. But I've definitely gotten into more of that because not only are we getting older, we are. I have wrinkles that go vertical and horizontal on my forehead. I saw it in the rearview mirror today. It tripped me out.
Botox. Why not?
I'm going to get Scrotox. I did a whole video on that. You want us to talk about Scrotox next time? And as you get older, you tend to realize that your time on earth is limited. And I have people who've gotten the thing, and I have people who haven't gotten the thing. And I got people who are just aging and don't want to die. And I really want to be able to talk about what we can do to figure this out. Like at the end of the day, I'm not some weird conspiracy theorist for saying that there's something weird going on. And I don't know if it's social media hype or what.
And that's for the next episode.
We need to talk about it.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to comment down below, like this video, subscribe to this channel. What channel am I putting this on? That's a good question.
The Lobliner Lowdown.
Well, I don't know, man. I think this podcast will do better on the Tiger Fitness channel.
The Tiger Fitness channel.
But it's going to be called the Lobliner Lowdown.
The Lobliner Lowdown on the Tiger Fitness
It's kind of like Legacy of Carbon. We're really good at that. Thank you so much for watching. This is my lovely wife, Katie.
Very lovely. Thank you.
All right, guys. That's not a game. I used to have to go through dozens of bottles of vitamins, of supplements, just to get what I need. Look, I'm busy. I'm running multiple businesses. I'm coaching. I'm a professional bodybuilder getting ready for my first pro show. I don't have time to sit there and do all that. I gotta go. I'm on the go all the time. That is why I created MTS Nutrition Immortal. Here's how they look. This replaces dozens of bottles of supplements. And let me tell you exactly what this has. It has probiotics, greens, liver detox, joint support, cardiovascular support, and the most complete multivitamin, multi-mineral supplement ever created. If you have a busy life or you simply want more time to do the things you love and be able to travel by just taking one simple little pack with you, Immortal's for you.